Returning to play Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain for this review has once again reminded this reviewer of the exceptional craftsmanship that the game exhibits. Yet perhaps as a consequence of the experience of Death Stranding, this new playthrough left a remarkably different perspective on the overall game. The Phantom Pain begins with a fairly long and protracted prologue, which quickly descends into nightmarish surrealism with not only fantastical, spectacular and potentially alienating imagery, but depictions of extreme, almost sadistic violence. Not only this, but Hideo Kojima emphasizes the idea of following a man dressed only in a hospital frock, constantly forcing the player's camera to focus on his exposed butt cheeks. Is this childish humour, or a statement on games that have had us follow male support characters before?
Get down, now!
Or is it something else? Well, with no clear discernible answer, it is left for this reviewer to muse about another Kojima conundrum. This prologue section also includes a character creation system that only applies to the multiplayer aspect of the game, while the player is made to create an avatar only for that to never have any bearing on the game is mystifying. Getting through the prologue section was, well, fairly arduous. Unlike Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4, where even the most surreal cutscenes always seemed relevant and rooted to the experience as Snake, the overdrawn experience here seems detached, albeit that it is setting up the following main section of the game. However, once freed from this section, it rapidly becomes clear why Metal Gear Solid 5 was such a brilliant evolution of the series. In the review for Death Stranding on this channel, it was stated that the main draw of all Metal Gear Solid games were the cinematic cutscenes that progressed the story. In retrospect, Metal Gear Solid 5 is an exception to the rule. This isn't to say that the numerous masterfully crafted cutscenes aren't a significant impetus to progress through the game, but for the first time in the series' history, it is the evolved gameplay that holds the player's attention arguably more than the story. The gameplay mechanics in The Phantom Pain are the best that have ever existed in the franchise, allowing the player to approach different situations in a multitude of different ways, but also affords the player great scope to try out imaginative ways to either outfox, trick or destroy their opponents. This is coupled with the ability to Fulton extract almost anything of use that they want to help expand Mother Base, named Outer Heaven. Watching Outer Heaven expand is one of the great features of the experience. By the time the player arrives at the ending of the game, Mother Base is immense and truly spectacular to look at. The semi-open world environments of Metal Gear Solid 5 may not be as saturated with content as some open world games, for example Fallout 4, but they are extremely well crafted and certainly are excellent atmospheric staging areas for the missions that the players will embark on. These missions themselves avoid feeling like rinse and repeat ideas due to excellent environmental design work and the flexibility of the gameplay. As with the past Metal Gear Solid games, the relationship between Snake and the established characters of the series truly augment the experience, adding a layer of meaning and depth that drives the player to discover more. Although Kiefer Sutherland delivers a brilliant performance as Big Boss, it does seem odd that Kojima didn't use the original voice actor for Big Boss, David Hayter.
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump.
Harry Gregson Williams returns with a plethora of musical artists and composers to create one of the most beautiful and diverse game soundtracks to have ever been created for a video game. It is simply one of, if not the greatest game soundtracks of all time. Metal Gear Solid 5 was never fully completed, as Kojima and Konami separated over a dispute surrounding the use of Kojima's name on the packaging and promotion of the game. Yet despite this, it ends in a completely satisfactory final twist. The Phantom Pain is the best Metal Gear Solid after Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and although it unintentionally proved to be a swan song to the franchise, remains one of the greatest gaming experiences of this generation of video games.